Yo, what's up everybody? How is it going? Today I want to take you guys through Aghanim's Labyrinth Sorcerer difficulty. I know that I struggled a lot with it, and I thought it would be a good idea if I can kind of share the tips and knowledge that we have gathered for the mode, so that hopefully you can make it through too. Now, before we get into that, I want to kind of like talk about the difficulty of Aghanim's Lab this time around, because I kind of want to stress that it's really hard. If you haven't beaten difficulty 3 or even difficulty 2 yet, please don't feel bad about it. I know that like I initially felt a little bad about not having beaten difficulty 3. Like we were playing it for a while and trying to freaking beat it and we just couldn't do it. I'm like, I was getting frustrated because I felt like I should be able to, you know, like we beat it last time, like with the previous Aghanim's Labyrinth. Why can't we do it now? And let me tell you why we couldn't do it. Because it's really hard. Like, they made Aghanim's Labyrinth super hard this time around. Starting at difficulty 3. Like, not difficulties 4 and 5. We're not even talking about those yet. Just Sorcerer difficulty is tough. So please don't feel bad if you haven't beaten it yet. But I can hopefully give you some advice on how to do it. Something that I see a lot is that in the Dota community, you see a lot like, Team Liquid beat it, so it's possible. But if I'm completely honest, if Team Liquid beats something, that doesn't mean I can do it, right? So hopefully this is going to be a bit more of a grounded approach that will work for a wider audience. And hopefully this is going to be something that, you know, like everybody can make use of, because we are not the best players. Like me and my friends that we played this with, we are not amazing. Absolutely not. But we figured some stuff out and I thought I could share it with y'all. So let's get into it. We're gonna go ahead and just go through our replay that we have here. I'm doing this with a replay because there's gonna be some sections where it's gonna be nice to fast forward everything. Now, here's our team. We have Undying, Phoenix, the Clinks, and then Void Spirit. Sorry, I forgot the name. I wanted to say Darkseer because he's the purple man, but there's a bunch of purple men in Dota. Anyhow, so out of these heroes, I think that Void Spirit, Undying, and Phoenix are super crazy good. I think Phoenix and Undying are actually sort of necessary. I'm sure you can do it with like similar heroes. I heard Omni Knight is really good, but I don't have Omni Knight unlocked, so I couldn't tell you. But I do have Undying because everybody has him by default. If we're only talking about the default heroes, then I do think that Phoenix and Undying are somewhat necessary. Void Spirit serves as a huge source of DPS, which is incredibly valuable, particularly during the early game. But Void Spirit also has a lot of mobility, which is also valuable. So I like Void Spirit a lot because of that. And then Clinks is something that Clinks is good. He's very strong, but we mostly have Clinks because Alchemist wanted to play Clinks and really likes Clinks. You could do without Clinks. You could do Gyrocopter instead, or Drow Ranger, or Luna. There's a bunch of heroes that would work. Basically what you're looking for there is you're just looking for a ranged DPS, ideally a physical one. Now, let's talk about Phoenix and Undying. The first thing Phoenix can do, which you're already kind of seeing here, is you can see that Phoenix is using the Fire Spirits just to cheese out some enemies here. This doesn't work on all enemies. You will see in just a second that these fellas in our first room, they have a Meteor Hammer, which means that when we deal damage to them, they'll come teleporting. But you can still snipe out some creeps like these and these without needing to fight them, and that makes a huge difference. So that's really valuable. Phoenix has a bunch of cheese options available. On top of that, he just kind of does decent damage and offers a bit of healing. I wouldn't say that Phoenix is necessarily the strongest hero in terms of raw fighting power, but I would say he is the most useful hero for the rooms in general, because there's a whole bunch of rooms that Phoenix can just clear pretty much on his own, just by cheesing them. Now, I don't know if that's gonna stick around, if that's gonna get nerfed, couldn't tell you. But it exists right now, so we might as well be using it, right? Then we have Undying, which Undying kind of functions as a tank and healer. And that's, I think, an important thing here. Originally, when I started playing this mode, I started playing as kind of with the mindset, I'm gonna be tanking, which means I'm sitting there in front and I'll take the hits. And then my team can attack from behind, right? And I'll just tank for like, you know, a few seconds or minutes or whatnot in a row. And that is just not how Aghanim's Labyrinth works. Even as a tank, you need to be running. You can't just sit in front of the enemies, because the enemies will just straight up one-shot you. Like, not necessarily one-shot, but they will kill you fairly quickly. And that's, I think, a big distinction that you need to make here. In Aghanim's Labyrinth, your role as a tank is not, strictly speaking, to just take hits, right? Just to sit there and take the attacks. But instead, your role is much more to act as a buffer for your team. Because oftentimes, your team has heroes that can take 1 or 2 hits. And they ran into an enemy, or an enemy ran into them, and they got hit once. And now it's like, okay, well, you really can't take another, right? We can't risk that. So what is your job as Undying in that moment? Your job as Undying in that moment is to come in, block out the creeps, and heal your teammate. So what I'm going for is I'm maxing out Soul Rip first. Well, I haven't leveled it yet because we're level 2. And the other 2 abilities are more useful at level 1. Level 1 and 2, right? But we're going to max out Soul Rip first, and we're just going to be spamming the hell out of Soul Rip. And if we can get Soul Rip upgrades, most notably cooldown reduction and mana cost reduction, which is the same upgrade. But if we can get that, that's fantastic. That's what we want, as much as we can get it. We'll make it through the first room here. This was an elite room, which is very lucky. Great elite room. We did end up losing a life, which isn't ideal, but the fact that it's an elite room is still very good. Let's talk about legendary shards. So, our team here has a bunch of legendary shards where people were like kind of mediocre happy. We kind of went for it anyway. So we've got this right here. Astral Step leaves a damaging trail, applying 15% of the Void Mark damage as burn damage. This is actually pretty good, does a lot of damage. Then this right here, Permeation, launched Fire Spirits, apply the debuff to enemies they pass through. The first enemy struck is carried by the spirit to its destination. This is also very helpful because we are relying a lot on Fire Spirits, and we are relying on Fire Spirits to kind of like cheese things. So if we can deposition them, change the enemy's position, huge, very, very good. I can't really tell you that much about Void Spirit, sorry. But you can also see here that the Phoenix is just going for Fire Spirit upgrades. Alright, the Bird Room. Bird Room, here, huge tip. Super important. When we first started playing this mode, we would like stick around this area and just try to like fight in the back, because that's how you usually approach rooms. Totally the wrong approach for this one. Do you see how much healing's up there? Do you see all of these like little chests here? There are so many healings potions up here. Nothing down here. If you fight in this area, you don't have any healing. So what you should be doing is you go up here and then you fight in this area. Much easier. The area's open, you have much more space to navigate and dodge the projectiles, and much more importantly, there is a ton of healing. So you don't need to worry about just being taken down over time, which is something that would usually happen in this room for us. So that's what I would really recommend here, is that you make sure you move through this left side. I guess you can also go through the right side, although I haven't done that. That feels more risky. I think move through this left side, get into this top area, and fight here. Do not fight in the bottom area. That's how you die, right? So that's, I think, really important here. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and take down the dinosaurs. No big problem. Yes, sorry, I was talking about the upgrades here. For Clinks, we have leaving skeleton walk creates 2 burning army skeleton archers. There are a lot of burning army upgrades that are really powerful, and this is one of the most important ones, because you can just kind of spam skeleton archers as much as possible. And here's the hero that I know the most about, which is Undying. So we have Bring Out the Dead. Spawns a zombie next to each enemy hit by decay. This is not actually that useful. I find that one to be kind of weak. In all honesty, I am not a huge fan of the Tombstone for Undying. It's not a terrible ability. The zombies can actually do a good amount of damage. But one of the kind of problems, I don't know, you could see it as an upside depending on the situation. But the way the Tombstone often plays out is that the enemies actually targeted down. So your Tombstone just gets killed. And if the Tombstone just gets killed, but then it's not spawning zombies and it's not doing damage. And that's kind of a problem. With Undying, personally, I like to rely a lot more on Soul Rip and Decay. Right? And I don't really want to go for upgrades for zombies unless I would be going for Tombstone, but I'm not really doing that. Tombstone, also the zombies, they are more offensive, right? They are a DPS source. And I don't really care about DPS. I'm here to tank and heal. So I don't find it particularly useful. I just went for it because nothing else I had was really any better. And I felt like, okay, you know what? If I get some of the good upgrades later, this might actually end up being helpful. And little spoiler, but I do get the most important upgrade for Undying. Well, I actually get both the most important upgrades for Undying, that in my opinion are the most powerful. Which we'll talk about them when we get to them, don't worry about it. Right now, let's talk about this Phantom Lancer room. So this Phantom Lancer room, you have the big guy Phantom Lancer here, which shoots out that projectile, which you don't want to stand in front of and just take the hit, because then you die, so you know, try to avoid that. Yeah, I didn't do particularly well in this room, if I'm completely honest. But the Phantom Lancers, they are pretty big, and they will spawn additional Phantom Lancers if you get hit by that, as you can see, so you then need to kill that. It's kind of important that you dodge the projectile as a result. There's 4 of them in the room right away. There's one here, and then there's one up there, and then the final one over here. What's important, in my opinion, is that you clear this one last. You can do the other 3 in whatever order you want, although generally you're gonna do this one and then this one. But then kill the one to the side here, and then deal with this. Never ever ever kill this one last. That's actually really important, because after you kill the last Phantom Lancer, there's going to be 2 more that spawn in the center. And when they spawn in the center and you're up here, you're gonna have to fight them, and then you're not in a good position to do it. But as I'm about to show you here, there's actually some kiting you can do that is incredibly helpful and makes it so that this fight is a lot easier. But that requires you to be in this bottom area, so it kind of means that this one is last. A bit by default. In theory, I guess you could kill one of these last, but go for this one, right? This is the big one. So you're gonna go up here and just go ahead and fight this fella. No big deal. Again, we just kind of like want to take him down. There's no rush in this room really, so don't feel the need to, you know, get through it super quickly. Take your time, let your ultimates reset, you know, that kind of stuff. But you can see now these 2 have spawned in. And that's dangerous. Like, fighting 2 of them at the same time is rough. Like, honestly, even fighting 1 of them at the same time can be kind of difficult. So, you know what? Just let them run. That's the first thing we do here. You can see that we're just kind of like running away from them. And if you do that for long enough, then eventually they will just kind of lose aggro. Right? So you can see we're down here now, and the smaller ones keep chasing you, but the 2 big ones don't. And that's the important thing. Like, those are the really scary ones. We can deal with the smaller ones. They are not that dangerous. So we take down the smaller ones, and now there's 2 of the big ones up here. And now at this stage, you can just either have Phoenix cheese them out by throwing fire spirits, or you can pull just a single one of them, or honestly speaking, if your ultimates are ready, you can just, you know, go in and kill them. It's just important that you split up the group, right? What makes the group dangerous is all of them at the same time. It's not necessarily the fact that they are... they're not necessarily dangerous by themselves so much. It's just the group that's what you need to worry about. So you can see we managed to clear that out pretty nicely. And then we move into the next room. I think the kind of approach we take here makes this room just a lot cleaner, a lot easier in my opinion. Then we go over here. You can see this is a question mark elite. There's always a chance that's a trap room. If it is a trap room, you always take a trap room. Trap rooms are super good because it's like pretty much entirely in your control, and there's some cheats you can do if you have a Phoenix. And they count as an elite room, so you get yourself a nice little bonus reward at the end. So I like going for the trap rooms if we can. And we ended up getting lucky here, so this ended up being a trap room. This could of course have gone poorly, but yeah. In the trap rooms, everybody gets an ability. This is random what ability you get, but it can be pretty powerful, right? Like, depending. Anyhow. We'll see how this works out. We're just gonna be running through this. I'm gonna go out and give you a spoiler. I don't do so well in this one. I usually am good at trap rooms, but this time around. I don't know, I wasn't really feeling the pressure because I don't have any life, so I'm not losing any. That's a bad excuse. Sorry, I just got messed up. Again, I'm not trying to tell you that we are the best players here. Exactly the opposite, actually, right? I'm trying to tell you that you can beat it too. Like, we can all beat it. It's fine. Just need a little bit of patience, a little bit of strategy, and you know, pick some good heroes, and then you can handle it. So yeah. We're gonna go ahead and just make our way through this. I'm gonna go ahead and speed this up a little bit because, yeah, it's a trap room. There isn't really much to say. This is why I wanted to do the replay, because with the replay I can just like skip through these slower sections a little bit. Trap rooms oftentimes have these chests, or well, they always have these chests, and in the chests there's often very valuable stuff in there. For example, lights, which we do care about. On Sorcerer difficulty, lights are important, so yes, very happy to take that. And then, of course, there's also a chance for money and so on. So yeah, we're just kind of like working our way through this. And I'm gonna go ahead and pick this up. The main tricky area in this little maze, in this little, what are they called? Trap room? I don't know. Is this one right here. This is the main difficult one. So what you need to do is you need to step on this. Yeah. First time we get it wrong, but then we figure it out. So you need to step on this and then step on this. And that will then dodge this projectile, and then you need to go back over here. You'll see it in a second. Also, hook coming in handy. Yeah, I ended up dying. It's okay, I didn't end up losing any lives, which is what's important. Alright, like the overall quantity of life that we have, that's what we need to worry about. It doesn't really matter so much if you die and then make it through the room if you didn't lose a life, so it's fine. Anyway, but this is where we were yelling at Dark Wisp a bit for kind of going into a bad spot for no reason. Alright, so this is the last section here. Again, this is kind of the trickiest part of this one. Just step on this. Right here, Archimo's gonna show you. So you step on this, then you step on the right, you dodge that. Nice. So it's just kind of this quick little zigzag, but it's a little weird because you have to dodge one button by stepping onto another button, but then you make it through nice and smooth and not a problem. Although it is a little bit sweaty, I gotta say. A little nerve-wracking, isn't it? Alright, so we made it through, we get some lives, no big deal. And then there is Zeus. I like the Zeus room a lot. It's some spell amp or magic resistance. I'm always happy when we get that one because it's upside without a downside. Oftentimes these big lore rooms offer you a trade. So you get this, but you have this downside now. And honestly speaking, those often feel kind of bad. Well, Zeus doesn't have that. Zeus either gives you spell amp or magic resistance, which I like. That way I just get some magic resistance. Of course, I'm taking magic resistance. I don't really care so much about damage. So, if we have a quick little look at our overall upgrades while we're going into the boss room. So you can see I've got a bunch of decay stuff, which isn't great, but it's fine. Alright, I've got decay on soul rip and mostly mana cost and cooldown reduction. I mean, to be completely honest, Decay and Soul Rip are just good abilities, and as Undying, one of your primary concerns is mana and cooldowns, so if you can just like slam him more often, then that works fine. For the rest of our team, you can see here Burning Army upgrades and the Burning Barrage, and then Fire Spirits, Sunray, you know, Dissimulate, just kind of like maximizing the damage. Everybody's kind of just playing their respective roles. For this fight, I made it my personal priority just to try and keep my team alive. So that was just the goal there. We're gonna go and transform, and we're gonna try to get a hit in here or there to apply our damage amp, but mostly we're just playing it slowly and trying to keep the team alive. To be completely honest, this Timbersaw guy isn't actually that scary. I think this Timbersaw boss is actually one of the easiest ones. He just preys on you being greedy, right? So as long as you just take your time with everything, play it safe, you should be able to make it through it. And that does mean that pretty frequently you need to just retreat away from the boss, which is annoying. I don't like that. I don't think anybody likes that, right? When you just have to walk away from the boss, but you just have to, right? Particularly when the big barrage of ultimates comes out. Yeah. Wait, no, that's not the one yet. Not quite, not quite. So yeah, I'm just kind of like running around and healing. I used one of the potions we had right there. I don't think I've talked about the potions yet. So we don't have a crazy amount of upgrades, just in case you're wondering. But something we did prioritize is making sure that we get some potions to start with. Those are really helpful in the early rooms. The early rooms are honestly speaking the most difficult because you just don't have anything yet. So they can feel a bit overwhelming at first. But, oh, that was close, yeah, the Phoenix almost died right there, but don't worry, we got it. See, this is why I don't like the tombstone so much, like, they just kind of target it down. Luckily, we managed to prevent that, so we are getting some zombies that are now running around and doing a little bit of damage. Alright, more healing. Alright, just kind of keeping the team going as best as we can, keeping them alive. Sorry, what was I saying? Yeah, this is the really scary part. This is the one you're worried about. But yeah, I was talking about the potions. So the potions I find really useful, but don't be afraid to use them. That's always like, that's just kind of a problem with, I think, potion design in video games often, is that you're just like, when is the right time? When do I use them? Well, here is the right time. I will tell you, in the first 5 rooms. It's fine, just slam them. And then if you have any extra, if you don't ever need them, right? Then go ahead and keep them. They're definitely scarier rooms later on. I don't find them particularly useful for bosses because the bosses aren't really affected by them. Most of the potions are nice AoE effects, so you want to try and use them when you get an opportunity to kind of burst down these rooms with a lot of units, right? That's kind of the primary purpose for them, I would say. Anyway, you can see this fight takes a while. Yeah, no, we've definitely taken it a bit slowly. But that's just kind of how it goes. In terms of items, you can see I'm picking up mana boots and a mecha. I'm gonna just go ahead and finish up Guardian Grease pretty early. I like Guardian Grease a lot because they actually have a really helpful aura and they're fairly affordable and mostly their build up is nice. I don't know. They tend to work out decently well, I find. So we managed to take down the boss and this is where we get our second legendary shard. So I get Macabre Reverberations. And this is one of the best upgrades you can get. So decay triggers 2 additional times at a targeted location 3 seconds apart. The additional decays deal 50% damage and deal 50% strength. This one is great. I think this is really, like, if you can get this one, go for it every time. Because it just lets you actually build up a huge amount of strength in many rooms. And also it synergizes, you know, with stuff like Bring Out the Dead. Now we're actually spawning a good amount of zombies. And that then synergizes with Soul Rip, because now we are healing a lot. So it actually ended up turning out pretty well here. That's why I went for Bring Out the Dead, because I was like, okay, wait, maybe I have an opportunity here. So in this room, this is the Manga Room. You gotta pick up mangoes and then throw them at stuff, which is nice, I guess. Yeah, there you go. Have some mangoes, my friend. I am not very good at this. Oh no, the freaking little, what are they called there? Fruit enjoyers. You average fruit enjoyer. What is this? A fruit dealer. Oh, wow. Well, average fruit enjoyer versus the average fruit dealer. But the fruit enjoyer is definitely a little bit tricky to hit sometimes, I find. Another important aspect of this, by the way, is you have to actually go and pick up the gold. Like, half the gold is put into these cards. So you always need to move into the center and actually go and pick up the money, because otherwise it disappears and that's not great. Right? Don't want that happening. Either way, it doesn't really matter all that much. I found that you always get pretty much more or less the same amount of gold. Like, it just kind of like... I'm guessing there's something that evens it out. I would guess that you get like 3,000 base gold and then, you know, you just get like a little bit of a bonus there. Something like that. But yeah, we take them down. No big deal. And now we get into the second area here. The second arc. Which is pretty good. And we go and purchase some stuff. So I get decay radius. Don't feel great about it, but didn't really have any super amazing options. But it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. And we pick up some armor. Because of our reverberating decay, with the echo decay, we now actually are going to have a good amount of strength. just by virtue of decaying a lot. So having plate mail to keep us going is really nice. Now this boss is some filthy bullshit. I'm gonna go and tell you that right now. I have no advice for you for this boss, other than just hope you don't get that boss. That boss is gross. That boss is just horrible. But I think it's kind of fine that, you know, you get to see that, you know, we beat it even though there was a pretty unlucky boss in there as well. We got a good first one and a horrible second one, and oh well. In this area you have these eggs, and you want to keep the eggs alive. You get bonus gold for every egg that survives. So what you're gonna see us do here is we have the Phoenix move up and pull the enemies as they spawn in, and while we are mostly fighting in this area. And this is again where like the this is the tanking style for this game really, right? So you can see I'm coming in, I'm taking a hit or two, and then I'm walking away, and I'm coming in again. My goal isn't so much to be taking the hits myself, it's just to distract the enemies away from my team, right? I am in the front and I'm happy to take some hits, but I am not willing to just sit there and get punched. That is an important difference, so you need to keep that in mind. Also, that's where I get hit by one of those big scary ones, but that's fine. You can see that this Soul Rip is just a fantastic ability. It really keeps you going. It's just a lot of healing. And you can also see that we have a lot of strength now stolen with the decay. It just adds up now that it's this, got the echo effect going on. It's just pretty fantastic. Although I think we make a small mistake here. Yeah, so there are some enemies that spawned over on the right side as well. That took down, I believe, 2 eggs. So we ended up losing a few eggs in this fight, which isn't ideal, but oh well, that's just kind of how it goes, right? Sometimes you just, you get as much of it as you can, and you get bonus gold per egg that survives, so losing 2 eggs isn't that big of a deal. So now these little fellas run into the middle here and then get sacrificed on an altar of blood, and turn into money, as they should. Because, screw these birds. Thank you for the cash. Alright, there we go. So we got some money now, which feels pretty fantastic. In terms of items, I wasn't quite sure what to go for next. I think I just ended up going hard. I'm not sure. But this is where we get a funny one. So this is Tiny. Tiny gives you the option of increasing your maximum HP, but your movement speed is locked to 350. This is something that I and the Phoenix ended up going for. Because we don't really move faster than 350 anyway. I guess during my Flesh Golem I would strictly speaking have 380 movement speed, but I don't particularly mind. I would rather have some bonus HP. Alright, we are here to be tanky. What this also does is it makes us really big, which I thought was very funny. And then here we are, presented with another room. We have a good amount of lives, so we decided to go for the money. Also the ODs are pretty cheesable. So what you can do with the ODs is you can just kind of sit in the starting area. So you will see us do this. We're just going to kind of sit here for a little while. And then these spawns, which spawn the Outworld Prowlers, you can just kill them as they come in. And you don't really have to engage with the OD for a good little while. You just do that until you killed all of them, right? And then after that's done, you eventually go and fight the ODs. There is going to be a second one of these. And honestly, this guy is pretty scary, so you have to be kind of careful. Also, shouldn't there be more spawns coming? Wait. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Yeah, there we go. They took a little bit. I wondered what was going on there. So they do end up coming eventually. They just take their time a little bit. But yeah, so you can see that we still haven't really engaged with the OD. We're just staying here in the starting area. Gonna go ahead and take them down. Now, once the OD actually shows up and starts to actually fight us, what we need to do, and this is really important, is we need to split them up. OD doesn't really do much attack damage, just kind of blasts these big AoE effects. Meteor Hammer, and then this kind of like, I don't know, Astral, like ultimate thing. I don't know, it's weird, but you'll see. It just has some big AoE effects. Here, this thing right there. And these effects are really powerful and they will kill you pretty quickly. But this is where having the Void Spirit is really handy. The Void Spirit is actually pretty fantastic at just dodging the OD for pretty much ever. Like, it's just free. So what we can do is we can split up. The three of us, me on the Undying, and then the Phoenix and the Clinks, we all fight one of them, and then Sunrise goes and just kites the other. And that's the important thing. Just needs to buy time. Doesn't need to kill, just needs to keep it busy while we kill the other one. You just don't want to fight the two of them at the same time. As long as that's what you can avoid, as long as that's something that doesn't happen, here's the second one. You're totally fine. So this is where we say, okay, cool, we're gonna go and split up now. We'll leave this up to you, Sunrise, and you can see here Sunrise is just kind of keeping this OD busy while the rest of us runs over here. And we start taking down this fella, which does take a little bit, but again, the main issue with these is really just that they are... Oh, yeah, that sucked. The main issue with these is really that they just have big AoEs. It's pretty easy to dodge one of them. Taking down two is a bit more difficult. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and chip away at this fella. Without the Void Spirit, we're definitely lacking in damage, but you can see that the Void Spirit is somewhere? Yeah, over there. The Void Spirit is just kind of like chipping away at this OD. He actually might be able to do it. Yeah, I think the Void Spirit just gets this kill. Maybe? Arguably? It takes a little bit. But it does end up working out. There you go. In the meantime, we have nearly finished this fella as well. And you can see now, cleaned it out pretty nicely. So, kind of like the way to go there. This is where, kind of a risky area. So there's these Snapfires. I think this is the Snapfire, the Roundup Canyon. Personally, I do not like that room at all. There's Snapfire, which is not that big of a deal, but there's these Bat Riders that come in and have Flaming Lasso and grab you and just drag you around. Hate it. The worst. So we decide to just go for this room instead right here, the random one. It's also an elite, which is nice because that way you get better rewards and we can get some extra life. So the nice thing about an elite room with extra lives is just kind of, it doesn't feel so bad if you die. Like, don't stress too much if you do happen to die, because you're gonna get some lives back anyway, right? So yeah, Clinks just got burst down immediately. So with these fellas, if you know that these are coming up, do never ever ever do this room if it's surged. Right, there's a certain modifier that they can have, which is called Surge, that makes them have more movement speed. If the enemies in this room are surged, do not do this room. You will die. It's awful. Otherwise, it's pretty manageable. The main thing you need to do is you need to stay kind of close to these big golems, so you can dodge them with like tight movement around them when they're clapping their big stun effect in front of them. This thing right there. And other than that, you can actually just run away from them. It's like totally fine, particularly once the smaller golems come out. The way this works is you kill the big one, and then out of the big one come 3 smaller ones, and out of those come a bunch of smaller ones. I mean, you get it. It's not the first time you're seeing golems like this, right? But yeah, there's just a bunch of these smaller golems that come out of them, and you can actually very effectively just kite them forever and just run away endlessly. And that's really like what you should be doing. That's the best way of actually handling this room. It's all fairly straightforward. You just keep running, you know? And as long as you do that, you can just snipe it out. You don't need to actually directly interact with any of it. It's gonna take a little while though. And it's honestly not the most interesting room, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put it on, oh, why is it zooming in? Weird. Sorry. But we're gonna go and just play this back a little bit quicker, because honestly speaking, this room is not super interesting. It's just kite them. They're not very fast. They don't have that much they can do. As long as you just take your time. Right, as long as you just take your time, you're totally fine to run away forever. Use the whole breadth of the arena, you know, like run around the entire circle and try to stick together as a team. That's something that we did a little bit wrong here, where we split up just ever so slightly. But no big deal, because we managed to group up again. This is also where having a tanky hero like an Undying is really nice. Undying in particular ended up being fun here, because for some reason the guys didn't aggro on our zombies. So the zombies just came in and did a ton of damage for some reason. This is very unusual. Usually the enemies target down the tombstone right away, but for some reason these fellas didn't. Yeah, you can see this is taking a little while, even on 2x speed. This is just kind of a slow room if you want to do it carefully, and you should try to do it carefully, because you can. But as long as you take your time with it, it's all nice and clean. Also, look at how big I am. So much strength. So much strength. Alright. Gotta go ahead and slow this down again. Nice and clean. I think we lost 1 life. And considering this is an elite room, 4 lives? Totally fine. You know, we're gonna get a whole bunch back. Look at that. Very good, very good. And then coming up, we have the Pugna or these Year Beasts. I actually find the Pugna room to be quite simple, so I'm pretty happy to just go for that. In terms of upgrades, you can see it's just, I don't know, whatever you think feels best. I think these Supernova upgrades were mostly taken because nothing better showed up, but there's more Burning Barrage stuff. And we got here, Wraith Touch. While in Skeleton War, Clinks deals a portion of damage from enemies he passes through. The attack damage stalls 25% of Skeleton War's bonus movement speed. The buff lasts for 14 seconds after Clinks breaks his invisibility. Max bonus damage 150. So Clinks can do a lot of bonus damage with that. Right? Void Spirits attacks apply Astral Steps Void Mark with 50% damage potency. Allows Sun Ray to be cast during Supernova and causes it to directly apply the Fire Spirit's burns to enemies. Alright, we're going into the Pugna room. Now the Pugna room has some interesting properties that you need to keep in mind. So the first thing about this Pugna Blast, so there's a Pugna up here, and the Pugna is going to be throwing out the Pugna Blast. And this only deals damage directly on the circle. Right? So if you're in the little, like, white line, that's when you'll take damage. You can see that I'm in the center of the Pugna Blast. I don't take damage. So you can actually dodge it by just running into it. Which is a little unintuitive. You saw right there, I ran right into it and didn't take any damage. A little weird, but yeah, that's kind of how you can do it. Pugna will never really leave the center area, so you can just kind of ignore him. Throw in some long-range spells to kind of chip away at the fella. Important thing is that there's going to be wards that spawn around here. You gotta take these down because they will deal damage to you. Right, so there's one right there. They will deal damage, and much more importantly, they actually make it so this guy is ethereal, so you can't really deal much damage to him anymore. Alright, we take down that ward, no big deal. And then it's just kind of a bit of a grind from here. You gotta wait out the wards, take them down when they spawn, and then just kind of like get some chip damage in on the Pugna. You don't actually want to really run into the center. You're gonna see in a sec why. But when you run into the center, there's some pretty significant risk that comes along with it. And you don't have to do it, you just kind of like nuke him from outside. Gotta just, you know, make sure you don't get killed by that AoE. But as I already mentioned, like, it's just not that hard to actually dodge it. The main issue there is the little extra spawns that might get in the way, but those aren't even that strong. There you go, that's the life drain. That's what you want to avoid. Life drain does quite a lot of damage, so if you can at all avoid getting hit by that, then, you know, please do. And here are more of these wards. So we gotta take these down. Look at how easy it is to not get hit by that. Like, it felt like I'm right on top of it, but I don't know. Might just be because I'm really big. Might just be because I'm a really, really big boy. Anyhow, see how much range that life drain has? That's a lot of damage too. Almost got me. But Pugna goes down, no big deal. And now the rest is gonna be fine from here. You can see I ended up picking up a heart, which heart is pretty good. Like, it's a great item. It just kind of gives you a ton of HP and regen and all of that good stuff. And we got it. And this is where we get into the absolute bullshit that is the slime room or slime boss. I honestly have nothing I can tell you about this guy other than, oh my god, this is the worst boss. I don't know why they made that boss in the way they made the boss. First of all, how dare you? You'll see in a second how this all works out for us. But so far we've had a great run. I mean, look at how many lives we've got. I feel like we've got decent upgrades. They're not super god tier by any means, but they're good enough. I've got a lot of decay stuff, which is very funny. And then a little bit of soul rip. You know, that's mostly what I've been going for, just decay and soul rip. It's actually nice because you can see that my soul rip now 4.1 seconds cooldown. Decay has a 2.8 second cooldown. So really I'm able to just spam the hell out of those. Okay then. So we're gonna go into this next area. Picked up some more stuff working towards the Soul Cross. I like a Soul Cross a lot. Bumps up your allies' damage. It also makes you a bit more tanky. Although we're not really gonna use it for our own benefit. Like, outside of survivability, we are not exactly a physical damage dealer. Alright, so this guy just shoots a bunch of projectiles which then spawn units that then have like this weird jumping ability. On top of that, this guy has a weird jumping ability and this black hole which you need to run away from, and it deals a ton of damage. If you get into like the center, then you're pretty much dead immediately. And even if you like try to run away from it, you still take a lot of damage. And oh my god, it is just bizarre. I mean, you can see here that I am really tanky. I'm just barely able to survive a lot of these hits. If all of that went on anybody other than me, that would have just been a goddamn disaster. And now that we've killed the slime, there's gonna be two of the big ones, right? And they're both doing the same thing. Now this guy's spamming a black hole. This guy is just running around, gonna be shooting attacks soon. It's all a little bit silly if you ask me. And you know what? This isn't even the worst yet, right? So here we go. We've got more enemies being spawned and the jumps all coming out. It's just incredibly hectic. There's so much stuff happening at the same time. We're trying to just target down one of them. You know, you want to kill one of them first so you can kill the smaller ones. But now this fella split up into two more. Right? So we're gonna go ahead and try to target these guys down. But, I mean, my team is just getting absolutely nuked. There's a black hole happening over there. Now they're both jumping on top of each other, making it really difficult to actually target them. On top of that, the smaller ones are just attacking and jumping everywhere, and then there's the black hole. And I'm just like, oh shit, okay, wait, I'm gonna go and just like see if I can maybe hit, but then I end up taking way too much damage all at once, and 3 of our team are dead. I don't even know, dude. Like, it felt like we were doing okay. Also, this guy, when you kill it, it's gonna split in a second, right? So there's like 2 more smaller ones. They just keep coming. I'm getting jumped by all of this. I'm trying to just keep myself alive, but now there's a black hole. I don't even know what I died to this time. Even now, looking back at the replay, I can't tell you what I died to. It's just a huge amount of enemies coming in over here. Yeah, I don't know how you're supposed to make it past this boss without losing like a whole bunch of lives. I mean, Phoenix is now dead for good. I was sincerely worried that this was just gonna be the end of it, right? I mean, like, oh my god. There's another black hole, so I can't even really do anything, right? I need to heal, but I can't. We lost the Void Spirit. I'm gonna go down another time as well. Look at how many lives we had going into this fight, right? We had so many goddamn lives. It was great. And now we have 1. 1 bonus life remaining. But at least the boss is starting to look low. I mean, we're doing our best here. We have a tombstone right now, but the black hole is actually just doing too much damage, and I go down for good as well. I got hit by something. Luckily, our 2 damage dealers are still going strong. Well, kind of. And there we go. Absolute disaster. Absolute disaster of a room. I don't even have any words for it. I have no idea. No goddamn idea how you're supposed to be able to do that one. But we ended up getting a really good upgrade. We ended up getting the goading totem. So Soul Rip can now be ground targeted to spawn a goading totem. The totem lives for 4 seconds and taunts enemies to it every 1 second. When the totem expires, it damages enemies and heals allies for 50% of Soul Rip's cumulative value in a 350 area. Toggling autocast will always ground target. So this allows you to just, you know, like, have a little taunting totem on the ground. That's really all you need to know. The fact that it taunts once every second doesn't really matter. It's just taunting constantly. It's incredible. It's effectively a 4-second stun on a 4-second cooldown. It is super useful. Sadly, it doesn't help against bosses, so that's kind of its weak point. But outside of that, it is one of the best upgrades. In my opinion, it's actually the best Undying upgrade you can get. It is better than the Decay upgrade, because Decay is, it's good, don't get me wrong, but it's not actually like what you're there for primarily. You want to use Decay, but you can actually get pretty tanky by going for ultimate upgrades. So I just noticed my team is not picking up the money, which is, guys, you gotta actually pick up the money. Alright. Alright. That's fine. We ended up getting a decent amount of money. 12,000 is okay. They ended up nerfing this room, if you remember. The first time we played this, we got like 30,000. Alright. So yeah, we get more Soul Rip cooldown and mana cost. So at this point, my Soul Rip has a cooldown of 3.5 seconds and mana cost of 76. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and buy myself a life. Because, you know, I'm Undying. I have some cash and I don't need it so badly. And then I come over here, I'm considering what else to get. Right, it's a little tricky, but I end up just getting another life, I believe. Because we just need to restock everything that we just lost, right? Like, that's really the most important thing. So have a quick little look at the other upgrades we got. So each searing arrow applies a 1.5 second burn, whose damage per second is 100% of searing arrow's bonus damage. Supernova can target an allied hero to bring it with Phoenix into the sun. If the sun survives, both heroes are restored. If the sun dies, both heroes die. And Breach, the first unit hit by Astral Step, receives 40% of the Void Mark damage every 0.5 seconds for 6 seconds. Now, that's actually some really strong stuff there. I mean, Void Spirit, as I mentioned, I think is fantastic. This is where we were considering. It's just like, okay, that Alchemist Room is really scary. That Alchemist Room is some bullshit, I tell you. But it is an elite. And it is an elite with life. So even if we go in and we die, right? As long as we don't die more than 4 times, we are still going to make a net positive. We're still gonna get a net plus. So there was some serious deliberation here. We needed to consider this one carefully. Because, you know, it wouldn't be too bad to just get some neutral items as well. But we end up deciding, you know what, we're gonna just take that risk. Gonna go ahead and say that we can do this. So we're gonna go into the Alchemist. The chemist gets revenge. Haha. No, we're gonna go into the Alchemist Room. This room spawns only 2 enemies. Both of them are this huge ass, fat ass alchemist. And the biggest problem with this alchemist really is that you get the big unstable concoction. An unstable concoction does a ton of damage, is a really heavy stun, and most importantly has pretty much the whole map worth of AoE. Okay, that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but really not by that much. The AoE is absolutely massive. So you just need to kite a lot again. This is another one of those just run away rooms as much as you can. So you can see here that's done and like that hit all of us. So I'm taking a lot of damage here. Luckily I am Undying, so I can take some hits, but only to a limited degree. And this is where actually Undying isn't the best. Undying is great at fighting rooms with lots and lots of enemies, but only a few small, or like I guess a few big guys. That doesn't work as well. Alright, egg gonna be used there. In the meantime, we're just kiting here. Void Spirit is again fantastic here. Void Spirit, super powerful because you are fast. Mobility is king. Just in Dota in general. This isn't even unique to Aghanim's Lab. I think that's... Dota as a whole is all about mobility. You might be like, why not using the goading totem? That's why it doesn't work against these fellas. Yeah, goading totem is amazing against normal rooms, but it's not useful against bosses. At least not until they spawn some additional enemies. Alright, here we slam one of those Ravage potions. This is part of why you want to use the Ravage potions early, because you just saw, well, if we keep them until later on, they're just not as effective anymore. Use the potions early on, because that way you actually get value out of them when you need it. You know? Can preserve a life, hopefully. And that's really what matters. And we're so very nearly done with this fella. There you go. So it wasn't ideal. I think we lost 3 lives. Maybe even 4. I don't know. I think it's only 3 though. So we still got some out of it. And you gotta keep in mind, we did also manage to get another, I think, Epic? That's what they call it. One of the elite Aghanim's shards, which is valuable. Here is Lucifer's Lounge. This is where you can get yourself some upgrades in exchange for your life. You can either get killed and get 1500 gold, or you can lose HP regen, or you can lose permanent HP. I do actually go for this here. I sacrifice some HP regen because I don't really need it that badly. I thought it's 6.66 HP regen. Like I have enough. I should be fine. That was kind of the thinking. Yeah. Here we are. This room, the techie spawn, is annoying. Specifically because they have Surge. We try to avoid Surge whenever we can. Because with Surge, you just never know. Enemies running at you with max movement speed is really difficult to deal with. As you may have noticed, kiting is important. So we make it up here. This is an interesting area. I actually quite like this one, this fight. So there's 3 types of enemies here. You have these walls, which they are just kind of the normal enemy. They're not a big deal. And you can see the totem there coming in really handy. Then there's these Ventral Spirits. Ventral Spirit is annoying because she swaps and also she throws out some stuns. And then there's the maiden. There's only one maiden. So I think there's multiple Vengers and there's a whole bunch of these wolves. But there's a singular maiden. And the maiden just throws out Crystal Maiden ability. And she's really, really powerful. She just does a lot of damage. And she's kind of the primary target you need to take down. The cool thing is that she's protected by these Ventral Spirits. They will swap things into the ultimate, or they will swap the Crystal Maiden from place to place. It's actually really nice. I think this is a super cool fight. And yeah, also I am very big. I'm just the biggest boy. I tried there if my Taunt Totem works on the maiden, but it doesn't. No. It does again work on everything else, and it's just like a really nice extra utility that you can get. So you can see here we're being attacked by these fellas. So instead of engaging with them, I can just go. Oh, I think I needed to heal Alchemist Room first. I can just go and there we go, put down one of these. And keep in mind, once it runs out, it will actually deal a good amount of damage to everything as well, which is really handy. There's the main ultimate. This thing is terrifying. Particularly if she gets swapped during it, because it's like, it just moved, but we managed to disengage that nicely. Oh, there's the Phoenix, who's now in the middle of everything. Kind of dropping a little bit low. Luckily it's a Phoenix, so egg is always a possibility. And they take down my Tombstone, but now the main is looking really low. And this is where Clinks is nice. You can deal damage from such a long distance because of the skeleton archers not needing to actually worry about dying. So it's quite handy that way. I do wonder if maybe like an Undying damage build is a viable strat, like where you just go for zombies. I don't know, I've been mostly been playing him as a tank and a healer though. And this is where we just get also some neutral items. This is what I mentioned earlier, I think. I don't really like going for neutral items too much in the early game, because if you go for neutral items early, then you're kind of wasting a room when you go for neutral items late. Does that make sense, right? Like, because like you can only have one neutral item. It's not like you can carry it along. This right here, we had to give some consideration to as well. I think we, well, this isn't displaying properly. But there is a room here. This is the Halloween. Oh no, it's a trap. Oh, yes, this is where we can show you some cheese. Okay, so there's some Phoenix cheese that you can do, which is very silly. You can activate the sun ray as you go into the room. And that will then leave you with sun ray as you transform. Aha. Now you might be like, wait, that doesn't seem useful. It is. So you see we get random abilities when you transform. This guy has Hook. Klings has Surge. I have the Divine Shield. And then Void Spirit has Hookshot. And we need to get over here. We are right there. So what can the Phoenix do? Well, you know what Sunray lets you do? You know one of the very nice unique properties of it? Alright, come on guys, get to it. Alright, we're gonna go and speed this up a little bit. We make Archimol run ahead. And then Dark Wisp here. Gonna go ahead and use the Sunray. Use the Sunray. Use the Sunray. There we go. And just climb right across. And now we've got a hook on this Phoenix, right? Which means that the Phoenix can't just get me across, and then finally we have a hook shot on Sunrise, and then I run in here and die. I thought the Divine Shield was click the button and you get Divine Shield. Turns out it's a targeted ability. Apologies. Turns out it's a targeted ability and you need to click on yourself. I thought I just can't click Q and then I have it. That's totally my bad. Yeah, so I end up dying there, but oh well. In the meantime, we've got Archimo, who just sadly actually had to make his way through the honest way. But we've got Archimo kind of making his way across. I'm not a particularly huge fan of this labyrinth, because it is really difficult to see where those blades actually go. I know they're like cool and they like having them, but to be completely honest, I don't think they are necessarily best suited for Dota, because it is just really hard to tell where their hitboxes actually are. Anyway, that is the last vendor room before we make it to the final boss, which we're looking pretty good. I mean, to be honest, we have some decent items. I'm gonna go ahead and pick up a 4-staff here just so I have some additional mobility. And most importantly, we have a good amount of lives, right? We have a total of 11 bonus lives, is that right? Yeah, a total of 11 bonus lives. To be completely honest, I don't think we could ask for more. Well, I guess we could ask for 2 more. But no, I'm very happy with this, and it felt at this point that yeah, we will probably get it. We felt confident here. So, let's go ahead and make it into that final boss room. The Beast's Lair. Now for the final boss, I don't really have any advice. It's just dodge stuff and kill the final boss. Right? I don't know what else there is to say, really. Just gotta dodge stuff and kill the final boss. So we were kind of excited here, kind of like, yeah, okay, come on, everybody ready? We can do it. Because it's taken a while to get to this point. And you know, watching it back now, I don't think we had like a super perfect run either. Like, I don't think this was like crazy lucky or anything like that. It was really just, you know, playing carefully, knowing when to cheese things, knowing when not to cheese things. And then, you know, making your way through things. You know, a bit of strategy and all of that stuff. And then you get scammed because I already have this fella, so I am not even getting a new Aghanims, which is disappointing, I gotta say. Yeah, when this guy is throwing rocks, that's your best opportunity to get damage in, because you just kind of stand still. And honestly, the rocks are not that dangerous. You can also dodge that pretty easily. Yeah, sadly, I'm not crazy useful here. Like, I'm doing my best, but as Undying, I don't think he's the best at clearing out the final boss. I mean, not every hero is gonna be the best at doing everything. Sadly, this final boss just doesn't have that many adds. Like, there's just not that many bonus creeps that get spawned. And I know that may seem like a good thing, but as Undying, we kind of like it if there's a lot of units, right? Now, luckily we can spawn some with the Tombstone and our Decay as well. But, well, it's not quite that many. Anyway, he's just kind of stomping around. No big deal. In terms of items that you want to get towards or for this final boss, I think Force Staff is great and Yules is great. You know, just something that allows you to... He's slamming me. I think Force Staff and Yules are great because they just let you... because they just give you an opportunity to dodge some stuff in ways that you might not otherwise be able to. Oh no. Although I was really big here, so I wasn't really sure where I could even dodge. My character was bigger than one of those lines, so I felt it was tricky to actually evade it properly, so we ended up going down there sadly. I don't know if we're gonna, well, we're probably gonna try to beat level 4 as well, if I'm honest. I don't know if I should make videos of the attempts. I don't know if you guys want to see that, or if I should just like kind of wait until we did it and then I can give you a video like this as well. I'm not entirely sure what kind of Aghanim's Lab content I can make. Maybe I can find some like other streamers to play with. That would be fun. But that is still a journey of finding somebody who wants to hang out. Alright. Yeah, the Phoenix is down here, which is actually a big problem, and then I get clapped as well. Luckily the Clings and the Void Spirit are both still full. Like, they just have 3 lives. So, the less chunky boys are definitely working out better here. And this is where I was just like, let's just go hit him. I'm just gonna go ahead and amp the damage, and also I'm bigger than the guy. And then I nearly died. Oh my god. I don't know, he just got so huge. Yeah, and I got hit by that. For this, you want to have a BKB. So you can get a PKB, and it is weirdly enough actually something that you can block with a BKB. It's actually the only ability the Primal Beast has that is blockable with a BKB. Either way, at this point we felt pretty confident. Yes, there's only 2 heroes alive, but the guy also only has like 16,000 HP, so it should be okay. As long as there's not too much of this is a bit annoying. But you just gotta get the last few hits in. Also, I heard that this fella is supposed to be the next hero, which I would be very excited about. I mean, I've talked about this before, but my favorite heroes are big, chunky monster boys. Oh, I love that. That's my favorite. That's why I like heroes like Underlord and... Oh, where's you? Where are you going, buddy? Ah, leaving. Alright, I like big, chunky monster boys. And that guy is exactly down my alley. So I'm hoping that that's actually true and that ends up being the next hero. Anyway.
Maybe he's gone off to find his primal ancient typewriter so he can write you a strongly worded letter.
Ah, shut up, Aghanim. So yeah, anyway, you can see here that we made it through. We beat the Sorcerer difficulty. I hope this was helpful. I hope I could give you some advice on how to do it, right? Phoenix, we didn't actually end up cheesing... Oh, sorry, that's the wrong button. Where is it? There we go. We didn't end up cheesing that much with Phoenix here. You can do so much with Phoenix. The Monkey Room, the room with the Monkey Kings, you can do that entire room without fighting anything. Just have Phoenix throw in fire spirits. But yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a rating on the video. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.